Trump just confirmed the largest bull run is incoming and we must prepare for it. Now, in this video, I want to address what just happened over the last 24 hours that's not just going to affect crypto, but also traditional finance in one of the biggest ways. So, let's dive on into what's going on in the crypto market right now. Let me refresh. I know that we just sold off a little bit on Bitcoin. I'll address the price chart here in a bit. But number one, we do see a lot of old coins up significantly. XRP was breaking out earlier today. It did hit about $263 or so. Now we are selling off a little bit because of, the major resistance zone up there, which I'll talk about as well in this video. But trading volume across the board for a lot of old coins is actually up in a big way. And we could actually see the trading volume in the last 24 hours. On Bitcoin, it's up, 54, almost $55 billion. On Ethereum, over 26.6 billion. Outside of that, XRP is the next one at about almost $7.8 billion. Now, the main thing that I'm also looking at is the 30-day volume. We could actually see Bitcoin has over $1.6 trillion. Ethereum also hitting over a trillion as well. And outside of that, XRP, $166 billion tied to XRP as well. So we are seeing a significant amount of trading volume in this space right now. Whale activity also hitting, all-time highs across the board for a lot of old coins and even Bitcoin itself. The overall market cap of crypto, almost $4 trillion as well. Yesterday, things started to really kind of erupt. But as you guys can see, ever since roughly the beginning of May, things have just been going crazy. And this is because, of course, Bitcoin, starting that move from like the low mid 90,000 region to where we are at right now on this chart, which is about roughly 103K. Now, again, I'm going to be addressing Bitcoin in this video as well as XRP, but let's actually talk a little bit about what's really going on behind all of this. So, if we actually look over here, we could see the craziest chart in all of finance. The correlation of Bitcoin and M2 is staggering. And here we could actually see the M2 supply and Bitcoin. If we actually look at Bitcoin, it's been following the M2 supply, during this entire move. And we might have slight dips here and there, but for the most part, I do believe that Bitcoin is going to 150,000. I still believe that that's going to be the target. It could very well happen by the end of summer, depending on how, crazy things do get. But my overall idea here is that we do top somewhere around the fall to winter time frame, very similar to like 2017, 2018, or even technically, 2021, because we did top around November of 2021. But outside of that, right, Bitcoin dominance, because Bitcoin has been moving and so has Bitcoin dominance. Bitcoin dominance has been dropping. It's sitting at about 62.5%. It did hit earlier about 62.24%. Now this is after having that nice spike all the way up to about 65%. I'm watching for a much larger significant bearish candle here, because we've had these slight sell-offs prior, right? For an example, here we have back in April and May of 2024 as well. We have a very similar price move that we are seeing up here. Also, we go back to December of 2023 all the way into the January of 2024 time frame. We've had these slight sell-offs, so I'm watching to see if this is just, one little sell-off before a much larger expansion, or if this officially is the start of alt season. If it is, we don't have much time left. Things are going to start to get very volatile, and we are going to see violent swings across the board for altcoins. But I've also been looking at how the markets are reacting to the news out there. I'm going to talk about the news. I'm going to talk about the announcement. I'm sure that by now you guys already know about it. But if we actually look at the futures, right, I was watching stock futures this morning, and we could actually see that from unusual whales. Holy futures are super green. NASDAQ up 4% and S&P 500 up 3%. if we actually go over here to CNN Business, we could see upon the stock market open, the Dow up 900 plus points, S&P up over 133, NASDAQ up over 500 and almost 70. Guys, this is one of the most bullish opens for stocks in a very long time. But it's something that I've been also outlining, that stocks were ready to blow. Because even if we go back, to the homepage here, let me go back to the homepage real quick, and let me show you guys real quick the S&P 500 chart that I did have open prior that I shared with you guys. If we actually look at this overall chart here, this is on a macro 3-week. If I go to the daily or so, we can see a little bit of a different view here. We started to really push over the highs. In fact, we already had a comfy higher high on this chart since going all the way back to March, which is a very, very big signal. I was saying that this red zone is going to be very hard for us to push through, and today we opened above it, which is very good to see. The S&P 500 is actually looking very, very good here. We surged past the midline, and if we actually look at this on the 3-day, you could see just how bullish the S&P 500 actually is. We pushed through the midline. We're now almost above this red zone. We still need a little bit more time to confirm this. This week is going to be a very big week to really kind of watch stocks. But the next level of interest from here is the all-time highs, and that would take us to over 6,000 plus on the S&P. This could be very beneficial for crypto, but also gold. Gold has been selling off, and I do suspect gold is going to be pretty boring going forward. I actually think that this is our, overall view here for gold. Something like this, very boring, will take us into 2026. And, during that time, everyone is going to be focused on crypto, which is exactly why I do think that Bitcoin started to surge anyways. Because if you actually look at when gold started to get boring, April 21st, we go look back on this chart when, Bitcoin really kind of started to go crazy. Let's go look back on the month. This is, back here is April 21st. This candle here, this massive candle to the upside, we could see the clear rotation from gold into crypto during that time. And now we're starting to see, Bitcoin rising while gold just continues to chop sideways. This is very good to see. But also, I did make a video yesterday, and I talked about this post that I made on X, where I was talking about the largest catalyst in front of us being the China deal, right? This trade deal with China combined with, of course, the Fed rate cut. And I said that this would be a monster catalyst leading to a massive rally across the board. And guess what we got yesterday? We got a big deal. We got a big deal from the US with China. I said, just as I predicted yesterday, the deal is done. Prepare for a massive move across the board now for stocks and crypto. The bull run is really about to begin now. Now, if we actually look at this, we have the US announces China deal, and this is actually in Geneva. We have on the 11th for immediate release. This is from the Secretary of Treasury, Scott Bent. I'm happy to report that we made a substantial, progress between the United States and China in the very important trade talks. First, I want to thank our Swiss host. The Swiss government has been very kind in providing us this wonderful venue, and I think that led to a great deal of productivity we've seen. We will be giving details tomorrow, but I can tell you that the talks were productive. We had the vice premier, 2 vice ministers who were integrally involved, Ambassador Jameson as well, and myself, and I spoke to President Trump, as did Ambassador Jameson last night, and he is fully informed of what is going on. So there will be a complete briefing tomorrow morning. Now, when we think about this, okay, we look at the updates today. This was one of the big updates, which is the United States cuts tariffs on Chinese goods from 145% to 30% for 90 days. China lowers tariffs on the US from 125% to 10% for 90 days as well. So we basically have like a 90-day pause on this, which is very good to see. And this is actually why, the stock market opened in such a bullish way today. And we also know that there's going to be a few additional updates as well. We'll see what goes on going forward. For the main thing, the number one thing that I was really looking at was the Chinese trade deal, because this is going to be a game changer. And not only that, it did cause the markets to erupt, just as I did predict. I'm not trying to say like, oh, look at, I called it. I'm just saying, we were looking forward to this. And I even said that if we didn't get a deal today, that I suspect that we will see one announced in June, which would align, of course, with the Fed rate cut decision. I still think that we get rate cuts in June. That's still going to be a big catalyst. But outside of that, we also saw that the Bank of England did cut interest rates by 0.25% to 4.25%, citing Trump's tariff trade war as a key factor. Now, what's crazy is that if Bank of England is cutting, we look at what the Fed is going to do in June, which is why I do think that we get the Fed rate cut decision in June. This is only going to cause markets to erupt even more, because guess what? I do suspect happens from June going forward. I suspect that we see the M2 supply surging yet again. Now, do